Well, hello friends. Today we're going to make some kind of thread abstraction of some type. I'm not really sure. So I made this little piano the other day, and oh, I guess you can't hear it now because my desktop sound is really low. Let's see. Yeah, it sounds like shit when I'm recording with OBS at the same time, but basically it's a piano, and the way that it works is there is a thread that produces waves, and then it just shovels those to the sound card driver, and then there's the main thread which draws this user interface here, and whenever the sound thread, if you want to call it that, I guess we can call it the sound thread. When the sound thread is finished with like a batch of sound or whatever, then it signals the main thread that, hey, I produced some new sound. Why don't you like draw the waveform of this latest sound that I've made? So telling the main thread to do that is a bit tricky, right? Because the typical thing that the main thread is doing in a GUI application here is that it's just blocked in select in the event loop, in the gEvent loop class. And in order to get the main thread to exit from being blocked in select, we have to send it something from the secondary thread, from the sound thread, so that it exits or returns from select. So what we do is that we have a pipe that's set up between the two threads. So I'll show you what that looks like. So when we start up, this is the piano application. So when it starts up, it makes it makes a pipe, right? And this is the typical Unix pipe that you get two file descriptors, and then you can put something into one and it ends up in the other. And then here is the entire sound thread, and it just calls fill audio buffer on the piano widget, which is what produces the sound, and then it writes it to the audio stream, and then it sends a single character into the first pipe file descriptor, which means that it becomes readable in the second one. And that's something that we set up here. So we're using a C notifier, which is a pretty cool class in libcore that allows you to specify a file descriptor, and whether you're interested in reading, writing, whatever. I think, yeah, reading and writing basically. There's also exceptional conditions, but that's not implemented yet. So say that you're interested in reading or writing, and then you can have a callback here for when you're ready to read from that file descriptor. And this will cause the gEvent loop, or the cEvent loop, in libcore to wake up from that select call that I was talking about and invoke this callback. So then what we do here is that whenever something comes in on this pipe, we end up in this callback, and we are able to just read, this dummy data from the pipe that was sent down here. And then since we are on the main thread and we know that audio was produced, we can invoke update on the piano widget, which will cause it to repaint itself. So this is actually quite nice because this allows us to do all that stuff on the main thread without having to do any kind of locking or anything. So, but of course, this is a nice trick, and I would like to use it in other places. So I think that it should be packaged in a more general form. So I was thinking about making, at least starting to make like a C thread object, and using that to spawn threads, and then also having a wake up function, so that this guy here would just call wake up on the main thread instead of this mysterious looking stuff. So that's what we're going to build now. Thank you for listening to the long explanation. Let's get to work. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to make a cthread set of files. Actually, yeah, I should probably tell you that the only syscalls that I have right now for threads are create thread and exit thread. That's it. There's nothing else right now. So we're not going to build anything too fancy in this video, but we're going to make use of these to create a basic thread object abstraction. So I'll call it cthread. Maybe it will inherit from cObject. Maybe it won't right now. Let's say that it doesn't inherit anything right now, and we can come back to that later. Because I would like to be able to send events to a thread and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do all of that right now. So let's just make it a simple class. I guess we should allow you to do that. Or, well, you should really be forced to provide a callback. So, how do we do this? Maybe the way that you would use cthread is that I'm thinking, should you subclass it or should you set a run function on it? Let's go with just giving it a run function. I think that would be slightly nicer. So a thread, we'll just use basically, we can use the same API almost, right? So take one of those, and we also take a void star user data. And how do you write this again? I always forget. Callback. Is that it? Oh, dang it. I always forget how to write these things. That's how? Okay, well, there you go. And we should probably have a cthread. And let's add a wake thingy. And I guess we should also have those magical pipe, wake pipe, FDs, wake pipes. That's nice. Okay. Wait, what the hell does create thread return anyway? I don't remember. Yeah, you don't even get the thread ID. I mean, I guess we could be nice here and return the thread ID. That's not gonna hurt anyone. And it will be nice if we can actually thread ID const return empted. No, we should just call this thread ID. I don't know what I was thinking with PID. I was thinking like, well, it's like PID, but thread ID is just slightly nicer. Okay. Yep. Then let's go and thread CPP. I mean cthread CPP. The core cthread. Callback void star void user data. Oh, hold on, almost there. Okay. This is not the callback function, it's the entry function. Entry. Do we need to hang on to this? I mean, Yeah, we can hang on to this for now, but ultimately we might not need it. I'm so not used to writing out this function pointer syntax. Let's see. I mean, should we hang on to this? No, I don't want to hang on to this. Let's just say m thread ID is create thread. Entry user data. Okay. We can assert that there's an entry. We shouldn't be passing in a null function pointer. That would just be really bad. No, not hack string, assertions. And let's create those pipes. So let's see, create wake pipes. Wake pipe, rather. Yeah, it's not a wake pipes, it's wake pipe FDs. And then we will also, let's see, static feed thread. We should make a magical one that gets the main thread. And that will be constructed, let's do it this way, main thread tag. I don't have to be in class, but yeah, like this. And then we will just have a thing like this, where we do something like main thread is new C thread. Like that. Something like that. I'm not exactly sure. And it should be static, obviously. Okay. I'm just doing this so that we want to construct this. I mean, this is not like a terribly important object. It's more like in case you want to wake the main thread, then we need to instantiate it so that we also instantiate the wake pipe for the main thread. But you can be totally fine without having a C thread because it's just a wrapper around an existing thread, basically. Okay, let's see how we build this. So main thread tag. Like that. I guess maybe right now we're mainly interested in being able to wake the main thread, actually, now that I think about this. So I mean, that's the use case that we're targeting in this particular patch, so let's pursue that right now. Pipe wait, pipe this, right, so if that fails, then well, that's not very good. Then we will thread create wake pipe, and let's exit spectacularly, because this is we're gonna need this thing for our program to work, I think so. Stablib, oops, not like that. Oops. Pair is still, oh shit, no, that's not in string, it's stdio. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's all we need, I guess. And then how do we implement wake? We're gonna do exactly what we did in piano main, which is to write into the wake pipe. Yep. Okay. And the way that this would look here is that we would do something like cthread main thread dot wake. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Now, how do we set up this notifier so that it already exists? I guess the main thread should always have a notifier. Maybe that's the thing. Yeah. So the way notifier works is that he, when you create one, then he registers himself with a C event loop. And currently, we don't support running C event loops on different threads. So C event loop is currently only on the main thread. Eventually, I would like to have event loops on any thread, but right now you can only have it on the main thread. So we know that, that's how we know that the C notifier callback will be on the main thread. So let's see, I'm thinking maybe C thread should have notifier thingy, but then what do we do when we wake up? Because like we still want this to happen, right? So it's not that we only want to wake it, but we also want to tell it something. So I guess we can send it a custom event just so that there's something for it to wake up and react to. Because if we just wake it up, it will return from select and then look at the state and realize, hey, there's nothing to do. I might as well just go back to selecting. So we're gonna have to send something to the main thread. But luckily we can do it this way, that we post an event to the, this will post to the main event loop. And we want to send it to the piano widget. I think maybe we have to star him. Yeah. And then we'll make a C custom event. And C custom event is like just an arbitrary event that it just has an int and a void star, and you can interpret them as you like. So this is like for application use, basically. So here we only care about having one custom event. And then we can use this in piano widget. And we can, I guess the way to catch a custom event is you have to filter the entire event stream, which is a bit sad, but let's just do it that way for now. Piano widget event. So if you override event, you will get every C event will come into this function, and then you have to pass it through to your parent class. So you have to actually event when you're done filtering. So let's see, if event type is C event custom, then we update ourselves, and then we can just continue processing. So this is how we'll do that. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. then maybe we should debug print something, or debug got custom event in piano widget. Okay, now we are ready to not do this, but well, we still have to set up a notifier for the main thread. So where does that go? I guess we can put it here. Yeah, so then let's not create a wake pipe for secondary threads, since the wake pipe only makes sense if you have an event loop. So maybe the wake pipe shouldn't be part of the thread object, but rather part of the event loop object, actually. I think that would make more sense. So here's the event loop. Let's just add a member here instead. So int m wake pipe. Wait, where are the registrations? So the registrations are global. And even if you have nested event loops, then the nested event loops can still access the notifiers because they are global. I mean, they should be thread global eventually, but right now they're global. So I was thinking that the wake pipe should also be kind of global in the same way. So let's do it that way. Wake pipe FDs. And then we will implement that here. Let's see. I guess we can just always add the wake pipe to the FD set. So currently in cEvent loop wait for event, he will figure out all the file descriptors that we want to select on. So like any notifiers, and it will select on the GUI, the Windows server, and whatever else there is. I forget right now. But let's see, add file descriptors for select. Let's just see how we implement that. Yeah, so in the GUI app, it's just the Windows Server file descriptor, and in the Windows Server, we select on stuff like the keyboard device, the mouse device, and all of the different Windows Server clients. Anyway, that's just a little detour. Let's see, wait for event. So we are just gonna add, where's the actual select call? Here. So let's just add him. Add FD to set. M wake pipe, and this should probably be called S wake pipe FDs actually. To the read file descriptors set. And I wrote those things backwards. Didn't I? Or wait, why am I so confused? Maybe I'm not confused actually. I just needed to do the rename. Yeah, I just needed to do a rename. And we want to add the 0th, is that it? I already forgot. Notify. Oh, actually this code here is kind of wrong. Because where's the old version? We're writing into 0, and then we were selecting on 0 as well, but we should be selecting on 1. Anyways, we'll make this work. Makes you wonder why this was working to begin with. I guess because this one was always readable, actually, because it's considered always readable if reading from it would fail. think. If you select on something that would fail to read, then you will return from select so that you can read and fail. So, we had a bug there. Seems like. Anyways, now we don't need that. We shouldn't need any of this. Now wake should call C event loop. Let's see, load core C event loop. And we should get the wake pipe somehow for this wake pipe. Wake pipe FD, let's say. We'll have a way to get that for you. So I always forget which one is which. 0 is the right end. Okay, so then we'll do something like int wake pipe fd static int return as wake pipe fd 0. That's the right end. Then you just write into this fd and the event loop will wake up. I think that's cool. And we should get rid of this skunk and let's see, create wake pipe, you go away, and this skunk goes away because it doesn't belong here, and then we can have bool is main thread, and the main thread is easy to identify in Serenity, which is something that always bothered me in other systems. So here the main thread is thread 0. Deal with it. And then here we'll say thread ID is 0. Because then we can assert this main thread. Fix me should support waking other secondary threads once they also have event loops. That's not a smiling matter, that's just a matter of fact. Okay, and then let's see, written. If this fails, then and written is firm and will be error. Right, failed, and we can do an assert not reached actually. And then, shit, where else did we have that C event loop? No, I think that's okay. Oh shit, do I have some other modifications in the tree? Let's just get rid of them before we accidentally commit. Git add libraries. Let's just make sure we have those, and then let's also edit the makefile so that we build this thing. Let's put it up here, early up. Call. And that doesn't build because undefined reference to this guy. I guess I just have to put that thing up here somewhere. And let's see, we should also create that. Next time ID, blah, blah, blah. So this is where we are constructing the main event loop. And then we can also do the wake pipe 50s. Oh shit, wake pipe 50s. We'll just do that. Okay, wow, a little bit of exploratory programming here, trying to figure out how this should work. But I'm starting to like where this is going. We don't need this pipe FDs here anymore. I hate this. Clang format does this. I wish it would look like this, but the auto format does that. And I like the auto format more than I care about this, but it's like, this is a frickin' Clang format. I should just report a bug. I'll try to figure out how to convince it to do what I want, but I didn't spend any time on that yet. I'm gonna remove some new lines here because reasons. Come on, build now, buddy. Don't you find it kind of exciting to write all this code and you never even compile it, and then you wrote everything and you think you're finished, and then you're like, all right, let's check out how it works. Is it gonna work? I guess we'll know if it works if we see that print statement that I put in Piano Widget, that we got the custom event, because that means that this guy created a custom event and then woke up the event loop so that he could react to it. And it should be coming like all the time, because even when it's silent and the piano is still generating. Cool. Nice. Man, that went well. Okay, great. So let's remove that printf there, and let's see, piano. Okay, well, that's not so important. So let's do a patch review to see what we have here. And well, let's just diff head. Okay, so in Piano Widget, we now receive the custom event. And it just causes us to update ourselves, which is cool. That's what we want to do. And here we have to listen to the entire event stream, which is not ideal, but in this patch it's okay. Okay, and then here in the piano app, we now get rid of the custom pipe that we set up, get rid of the notifier, even though I love you, C notifier, but we are going to go with a more general solution for this, so we don't need that also, actually. And in fact, we could use cthread here also. So we could say cthread sound thread, and then we are passing all this gunk in, and can be avoided. Oh, it still formats it that way. Okay, but that's kind of cool though if we can use cthread like that. Let me just see that that works. It works. Okay, so let's do things head. Okay, so get rid of the notifier, because now we have a general solution where the event loop creates this pipe anyway. Okay, and then we create a C thread for the sound thread. And really, like when you create a C thread like this, it will just start running right away. But now it's nice that we actually have, we could like get the thread ID this way if we wanted to. So that's something that's new and nice. Okay, and then here we don't write to this pipe anymore. Instead, we post a custom event to the piano widget on the G event loop, and then we wake up the main thread. It's pretty good. But now I'm kind of thinking like, is it the main thread that we want to wake up, or is it the event loop that we want to wake up? Because I was kind of thinking like, well, part of me wants to think of this as waking up the thread, but another part of me wants to think of it as waking up the event loop. Hmm. Um, let's see. Suddenly I am super conflicted about this. I think despite my desire to make this a thread API, it makes more sense as a gEvent loop API. So let's put it there. Let's say wake. And then cthread. We'll still keep this guy because it's nice to have an object that allows us to start a thread, but we shouldn't have the waking functionality in here, I think. So maybe later we'll want something for that, but right now I think it makes more sense to put this on cEvent loop. So static void wake. Okay, start putting that on gEvent loop. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. It's a cEvent loop thing. gEvent loop is GUI stuff only, but this is clearly useful for any event loop, not just GUI ones. cEvent loop wake. Okay, blah blah. That doesn't matter anymore. Now we can just write to the swake pipe. I mean, we can still do that. Now we don't need to expose that, so that's actually a bit nicer. I need to remember that shift delete removes the line, but it also forgets what you copied, which is bad. Okay. I think the remaining thing now is that we need to actually make sure that we drain that pipe, otherwise it will fill. So let's see, yes, wake pipe, where do we do that? And see, I'm screwing it up again. We're supposed to check the number 1, not number 0. Okay. Then after we select, here we select, and let's say if set what was it called? S wake pipe FDs 1 and RFDS. If it's readable, then we'll just read. We'll just make a little dummy buffer here, and we'll read from S wake pipe FDs 1 buffer size buffer. I think that's okay. Oops. Okay, so this patch review led to a lot of changes, which is nice. Because I think this will be better. And then instead here, what we'll do is gEvent loop wake. I mean, actually, this will look more correct, even though it is global. Conceptually, one day we want to wake. I guess technically even that is what we want. But let's say current. Is there any difference between current and main? Current. There is actually, yeah. But calling it on a static object, it doesn't matter because we just ignore the pointer anyway. But we can make sure that we're building the same thing. Okay. So I think that's a bit better. Let's just see that it works still. Come here, piano buddy. Wow, it's so glitchy when I'm running OBS at the same time. I should probably fix that somehow, but definitely not now. Okay, so let's go back to a second stage patch review. So this stuff is still the same, blah, blah, blah. And now here we do post event, and then we wake up the event loop instead of waking the thread. That's cool. Here in process create thread, and the create thread syscall, we now return the thread ID. So I think we should do that as a separate commit. And I'm realizing that I just added those files already. So let's see, git reset head, cp and h, and then let's only do that. So make create thread syscall return thread ID. That's just generally useful. Okay, now here is the event loop wake pipe file descriptors, and we create those when we construct the first event loop, which becomes the main event loop. And then down here, when we want to wait for an event to come in, then we add the read end of the pipe to the set of file descriptors that we're blocking on. And then if that file descriptor is readable after the select, then we would read from it. Not take super much care here, but like we just make sure that we drain the pipe. Okay, and then here in C event loop wake, we write to the right end of the wake pipe. That's cool. And if it doesn't work out, then we will assert, because this should always work out. Okay, and then here we have just a wake function that you can call on C event loop now. And then, right, so we were adding the C thread stuff, so we gotta add it back. Or do we need thread here? Or can we add it separately? I guess we can add it separately, actually. Thread. Okay, so let's say libcore add cthread, a simple thread abstraction object. Currently, this only simple wrapper around create thread that remembers the thread ID of the spawned thread. Now we have this remaining stuff here, so let's see, can we do only the libcore parts? I think we can, yeah, so let's do that. We can add libcore diff cached. So C event loop and wake mechanism that wakes up for waking up unblocked in select. This batch generalizes the concept used in piano to wake up the event loop so it can react to something happening on a secondary thread. Basically, there's a pipe that's always there's a pipe who is always part of the file descriptor set pass to select, and calling wake simply writes a little to that pipe. Okay. And finally, piano widget. So let's see, piano. Use GC event loop wake plus C custom event to trigger repaint from trigger repaint from sound. In order to repaint the GUI after sound thread has produced some sweet new waves, we post a C custom event to the main thread's event loop, and then wake up that event loop via C event. Very cool. So now, actually, one thing that I would like to do to improve here, because I really didn't like that we had to filter the whole event stream here, and I feel that it would be much better if we could just do this. So let's do that. We'll just do it this way. There should be a custom event override, custom, and now we just have to actually implement this. So for this will go in C event loop. No. This will go in C object. So C object, normally he's the guy who, I mean, this is where these types of events are dispatched from to this custom handlers like timer event. And then if you look in G widget, then there's an even bigger event dispatch based on type. We call the different virtual functions. So for the custom event, we should just do the same here in C object event. So if we get a custom event, then we just return custom event, static cast C custom event. Oh yeah, and then we need to actually virtual void custom event needs to exist, and we can have a default implementation that is just like that. That's cool. Okay. C custom event has not been declared. Where? C object. I guess I need to forward declare that. So how did this patch look? I mean, patch review. Again. So let's see. So now we are just implementing custom event, and always just doing an update. And then here in C object event, then we, for C event custom, then we just call custom event. We have an empty default implementation in C object, and here's the declaration of that. I think that's good. So why don't you finish so that I can run you? Unused parameter. Shit. Forgot about that. Let's make sure that we get it. Just to be sure. Can I make it there in time? Oh, I did. Whew. Okay, cool. We can get rid of that and say git commit a libcore. Let's do the libcore commit separately. Libcore or C object even. Add custom event virtual function. This way you can just override custom event to catch custom, C custom. Instead of having to filter the entire event stream with event. No, like that. Yes, beautiful. Show looks so good. Okay, and then in piano, use the object custom event to simplify piano widget. Yep, cool. Let's push that and let's see it one more time. Yeah, that thing down there. Oof. It really sounds like ass with OBS running. But that still turned out pretty okay, I think. I didn't really end up with the design I originally imagined, but I guess it's just because it wasn't really very clear design in the first place. But now we have a way to wake up the event loop, which is great because it allows us to do work on secondary threads, and we have a way to easily tell the main thread, hey, like there's some new work for you to consume or whatever. So that's great. I think that's going to be the end of this video. So if you made it this far, then I thank you for watching and for hanging out with me while I hack. And I hope you saw something interesting today, and I hope to see you next time.